My name is Chris Houston, and I am the wing leader of the Rio Grande Valley wing of the Commemorative Air Force.
Tell me how lucky we are here in the Valley to have these airplanes down here.
Well, it's really special. You know, first of all, the Valley played an important part in World War II. We had 5 air bases, of which one of them is the Cameron County Port Isabel Airport, where we are today. And it's historic in itself. The hangar that we're standing in was built between 1941 and 1942, and it has a very unique architecture that was developed before the war, used throughout the war, and you'll still see in old buildings everywhere. And I'm speaking of the wood lattice framing for the large open expanse of the hangar. The Confederate Air Force in the old days was founded in Mercedes by a couple of crop dusters. It grew in the Valley. It became a national museum. It had moved to Harlingen, was there for many, many years. Because of political rivalry within the museum, it moved to Midland, Texas, was there for many years. And then the headquarters eventually moved to Dallas just 4 or 5 years ago. And we are one wing, and that means we're one group of the museum, which is scattered all over the country. And we maintain these half dozen airplanes, plus a couple of other airplanes, in our little group here. And while ours are trainers and liaison airplanes, maybe not as exotic as the fighters, they are a lot of fun. We have some very unique pieces, exceptionally rare pieces, and we have the opportunity to fly them right here in the Rio Grande Valley. So that's kind of special for us.
Is it difficult or expensive to maintain them?
They're very expensive to maintain. Even our little airplanes are just very expensive. Simply put, airplanes are expensive to begin with, and secondly, the newest airplane we have in the museum is 75 years old, and so maintaining them is a labor of love. The airplane that I was flying earlier today, our Orion PT-22, we had the engine rebuilt about 4 or 5 years ago, and it'll last us many years, but $35,000, and fuel is $5 a gallon. A little less than that now. We think it's only $4.50 right now, so that's something. But still, even our simple antique trainers are very expensive to maintain.
You know, emphasize to the people how important. This is the only places you can see these planes. These planes go back to World War II. I don't know if you have World War I, but
we don't have World War I. However, one of our airplanes was originally built in 1928. And several of our other airplanes were built either just before World War II or during the war, but had been designed before the war. And so these are really old airplanes. I don't know if you got a chance to get a picture of it, but you saw that some of our airplanes, we start like you see in the movies, where the guy comes with the propeller and pulls it through in order to start the airplane. And these airplanes have no electrical system, have no radios, and we simply operate them the same way they did 75 years ago.
You have to love to do this, or it's very hard.
My family has grown up doing it. A lot of our new volunteers from the Laguna Madre area in Brownsville have just fallen in love not only with the airplanes, but as you saw, we have a lot of transportation equipment as well. Old trucks, Jeeps, equipment, just all sorts of things. So we have a lot of things that are of interest to a lot of different people, including, you saw that 1928 Model T that we have. That is a 2-owner vehicle. The Roscoe family in Brownsville had that Model T when their grandfather bought it brand new in 1928. And they kept it and used it for a long, long time. Eventually they donated it to the museum. There was a little confusion as to whom they really donated it to. Once we got that straightened out, and it was indeed our museum, we had a fellow that restored it, a Winter Texan that moved down here full time. And then we most recently had a couple of our good new volunteers, Jerry and Larry, go through the engine and restore the engine again. And as you saw, man, it's running like a top. And like I said, that's 1928. So we're excited about that. Well, you know, that's something about the Commemorative Air Force in general. You know, the lesson isn't to glorify war. The lesson is to remind us we have to be prepared. But it's also to educate the next generation, not only in the cost of our freedom and how things work, but more importantly, how good our system works. You know, it was our economic system, capitalism, that won World War II. At the beginning of the war, well, just before the war, 2 years, 1937 to 1938, the United States had 4,000 aircraft in what would become the Air Force, the Army Air Corps. By the end of the war, we had over 300,000. So in less than 7 years, we manufactured 300,000 airplanes. Before that, we were manufacturing 1,000 a year. And that was because of our being able to develop our industrial might, and that was due to the free enterprise system and capitalism. That's an important lesson. Plus, we're also able to educate school kids. We have a lot of school tours with mathematics and science and technology in general to instill an interest in them, whether it's in the airplanes or in the Jeeps and the antique cars and equipment. You know, there's something for everybody, and we hope that we spark an interest in them for the next generation. So we've got two things. We have the historical aspect, the patriotic aspect, and really the third thing is science and engineering and mathematics to instill an interest in our children.
And that's why it's so important to keep a museum like this open.
Absolutely. And again, with the Commemorative Air Force, it's not just a museum where you go into a cold room and you look at things. We have that. We have artifacts from local families having to do with World War II. But the fact that the aircraft operate, you got to see it today. They belch out smoke. You can smell the oil. You hear the noise. It's just completely different than seeing it in a clean museum someplace when you get to see it operating in the real world.
You're going to open up this Tuesday?
We are actually, I think we're open now Wednesdays through Saturday, 10 in the morning until 2 or 3 in the afternoon. We're able to schedule tours at any time with advance notice. And with larger groups, if tours come out with larger groups, and we can make arrangements and the weather is good, we'll pull an airplane out and fly it kind of like we did today. And just the fact that we would really appreciate folks to come out and visit with us. Now tours, we usually charge a little something for the tours, but otherwise it's open to the public, and we ask you just to come out. If you enjoy yourself, make a little donation. Help us keep the museum going. Tell your friends, let people know we're here. I can fly all the airplanes in the museum, and it's been a thrill my entire life. My family has been flying since the 1930s. My uncles all learned to fly before World War II. My dad was younger. He learned to fly right after World War II. My mother learned to fly when she was 50 years old. Two of my brothers fly. My son flies. So we have just grown up flying, and we have grown up playing with the old airplanes.
This is a Taylor Craft, designation L2, built for the military. And Clarence Taylor, when he left the Piper Corporation, he designed the Piper Cub as well. He left, and to show it to Bill Piper, he built this airplane to do everything that the previous airplane could do and better. Sure enough, it does that. However, there's not a lot of Taylor Crafts around because he did not survive the post-war boom. But airplane, very simple construction for the 1930s and 40s. It is dope fabric over wood mostly, with a steel tubing cage along the center of the fuselage. It is operated by a horizontally opposed flat air-cooled 4-cylinder engine, 65 horsepower, about the same as the Volkswagen Beetle, same horsepower, except this one will do 80 to 85 miles an hour, and you don't have to go downhill to do it. Very comfortable. My wife and I use it for cross-country flights through central Texas, and it is faster than driving, believe it or not.
What do you feel when you fly it?
On this, you feel very much like a kite. It is very much the theory of minimal horsepower to get maximum flight. You have a very long, fat wing to produce maximum lift with minimum horsepower. Believe it or not, early versions of these aircraft used 40 horsepower only to start flying. Of course, they were flying in the beautiful Northeast. But you feel every little air current as you're climbing up, and you climb very slowly, but 250 feet per minute. So after a while, you're at 2,000 feet. Ready to go for 2.5 hours. We have a solid 3-hour range with reserve here, so 2.5 hours at 80 miles an hour. That's close on 200 miles in a straight line. There's no stoplights, no police officers, no turn junctions to miss. In a straight line, you'll cover some distance. This would have been considered a cross-country airplane back in the 1940s. When this airplane was built, there were no paved roads in and out of the Rio Grande Valley. So Today, flying up to Bernie, say, it would take about the better part of 4.5, 5 hours with a fuel stop in the middle. But back then, it was a 2-day drive, a 2-day wagon journey to get up there. So the airports and even small aircraft like this shrunk the world for people all around the United States and all around the world.
Let me have your name, please.
My name is Chris Houston. I'm the operations officer here at the Rio Grande Valley wing of the CAF.
What do you think about having the museum opening up again?
We love it. This is our passion. We love running the museum. We love sharing our passion with others. People don't know about the history down here in the Rio Grande Valley, and all of this happened right here. We have wonderful local artifacts that have been donated from local families. We're flying out here every Saturday 9 to noon as long as the weather is good, as well as working on the aircraft, restoring some beautiful antique vehicles, as well as maintaining the museum.
We're going to be opening our museum officially next Wednesday, and this is kind of a practice run for us. We'll be open Wednesday through Saturday from 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock till 2 o'clock, Wednesday through Saturday next weekend. This is going to be during winter Texan season. We'll probably stay open those days until about March. So the museum and activity will be going on. Not daily. Flying will be doing on Saturdays. If we have special tours that somebody wants to bring about 20 people to do a tour with us, we will arrange for a pilot, one of our pilots or a couple of pilots, to come out and fly an aircraft for us. We'll do a whole tour in the museum, we'll do a tour in the hangar, and then we'll have an airplane. We'll do a pre-flight. The guests will be able to see a pre-flight of the aircraft, and the pilot will start the plane. We'll taxi it out, marshal him out. He'll taxi out, do a few passes over the airport, come back, land, and that'll be the show.
So is it a charge?
For a group, right now we're not charging. We're taking donations. Donations are accepted, but the tours, the big tours, when we're going to be flying an aircraft, we'll be charging $10 a head for that, because we need to pay for the fuel for these aircraft and the maintenance. And our main fundraiser to maintain these aircraft is our air show. And when we didn't do an air show this year, we're kind of hurting. So we want as many people to come and contribute and give donations to us so we can keep these guys flying. These aircraft. We have 5 aircraft that belong to the Commemorative Air Force, headquartered in Dallas, Texas. We maintain and sponsor and fly these aircraft for the CAF. The CAF has over 150 aircraft in this inventory, and they're housed within 70 different squadrons, wings, detachments throughout the country. And we also have some in the Netherlands and in Europe, CAF wings. Today what we did is, like I said, we did a practice run for us to get used to handling the crowds. Of course, we had to do the COVID thing where people are spaced apart. We have to comply with the state regulations on that, so that's what we're doing. Within the museum, we're all wearing masks. But right now, that's what we have to do. And when that COVID thing is over, we'll be a little bit more.
You've been doing this for a long time. Were you here when they were here in Harlingen?
No, I was not. I've been with the CAF, with this wing, for almost 30 years. But that's right after they moved to Brownsville. And then 3 years ago, we moved from Brownsville to the Portisville, Cameron County Airport. And as you can tell, this is a World War II airport built for a gunnery school. Training gunnery crews that fly on the aircraft during the war. So that's what this place was. It's a luxury field for that.
look what you've done to me now. You got a body like a model. You got a body that you always find. Open up a bottle, and baby you can have whatever you want. You taste so sweet, I can't help myself. You like candy, you like liquid honey. You taste so sweet, I can't help myself. You like candy, you like liquid honey. You like liquid honey. You like liquid honey. No, you like liquid honey. You like liquid honey. You
right. Well.